I'm John Sadler, and my agency, Sadler and Company, has been a proud member of ISU since 2015. And I was absolutely delighted when TJ and Dan suggested that we make our sports and recreation programs available to other ISU agencies. I've been in this niche now for over 30 years, and we've insured a lot of local associations and national associations in all 50 states, and we've seen just about every problem and the related solution. Now, we understand that the primary targets, which are the local associations, obviously they demand competitive rates and broad coverages, but probably more importantly is they demand that they're delivered with speed and convenience, and that's where we excel. Here's a list of the sports and recreation niches for which we either have our own custom program or have identified a best-in-industry program to tap into. The majority of our clients are teams and leagues, sports camps and clinics, tournament hosts, and health clubs. But we also insure a lot of martial arts, gymnastics, and dance studios and sports facilities. We insure both amateur, youth, and adult sports, but not pro sports. We also target local community-based sports programs, not school-related and not national sanctioning bodies. However, if you're working with a national sanctioning body prospect, we would still like to talk to you and will point you in the right direction if we can't be of benefit in-house. While there are some accounts which can generate premiums in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, the truth is that most of these accounts generate less than $1,000 in premium volume on average, and as a result, you must be deadly efficient or else you'll definitely lose money. We'll discuss how we can help you to be deadly efficient a little later. There are two sources of prospects. Most commonly, they'll find you when one of your personal lines clients or an owner of a small commercial business account suddenly becomes a league president, for example. Because of the trusted relationship with you, they want you to handle their sports insurance needs. If sports is not one of your intentional target niches, this is more of an accommodation, and you just want to handle the transaction as quickly as possible, and you don't want to embarrass yourself, and you certainly don't want to make an E&O blunder. This is where our automation efficiency and quick educational and risk management resources come into play to bail you out. The second source of prospects is when you intentionally decide to become an expert in the sports and recreation niche and target accounts in your community or even statewide. It's relatively easy to find prospects through registration announcements, either in local newspapers or other online resources, or to conduct web searches of local sports and recreation organizations. If you're going to get into this niche, it requires a specialty education and risk management resources which we can quickly and easily provide. The sports and recreation niche requires special knowledge and resources in a number of areas that you don't typically run into when servicing your other commercial accounts. I've listed just some of the examples where you may need help. There are a number of dangerous general liability policy exclusions that can result in E&O exposure, such as exclusions for athletic participants, punitive damages, 24/7 exposure to ownership of fields or facilities, and contractual liability limitation, just to name a few. There are also a number of coverage enhancements, endorsements, which you should be offering, such as sex abuse and molestation and non-owned and hired auto liability. And you should always offer what we call the optional policies, which are frequently needed in the sports and rec niches, such as directors and officers liability, crime, and equipment. And then there's the all-important waiver release, which is definitely worth the paper it's written on, despite what you may have been told by local legal counsel. You must also understand contractual transfer through the use of indemnification and hold harmless agreements. And then finally, you need to be ready to offer off-the-shelf risk management program templates to your clients for their adoption and implementation, such as for sex abuse and molestation, concussion, brain injury, and general risk management awareness programs, which key in on safety in facilities, equipment, instruction, supervision, sports injury care, and auto safety. And honestly, you can just let your clients access our risk management page and they can service themselves. And if they have any questions you can't answer, you can just refer them to us. We've already discussed how you need to be deadly efficient with these smaller accounts in order to make a profit. Before we talk about how we can do this for you, I wanted to take a minute to talk about how not to be efficient. Thankfully for us, most of our competitors are still doing business the old-fashioned way and are not very efficient. The typical transaction with a competitor may involve completing a long application just to get a quote, playing communication tag over phone or email, gathering hard copy loss runs, waiting several days to get a quote, and then once coverage is bound, waiting several more days to get a certificate issued while your client is screaming that they need to get a certificate to get on the field. We were the first in the industry in the sports niche to program instant online quote pay print. We have this available for teams and leagues, camps and clinics, tournament hosts, and studios. The entire transaction can be handled in as little as 10 minutes. We do have other programs for sports facilities and multi-sport operations that require the completion of a simple web form, and we have a 24 to 48 hour turnaround time on those submissions. Our commissions are competitive in the marketplace, and also you need to take into account that our technology greatly reduces the time you spend on the transaction, which greatly reduces your expenses. For our instant online quote pay print programs, you're able to self-quote and issue new business and can self-issue new certificates of insurance. Here's our special ISU web page. You can find the link to this page either on the cover or the final page of this video. Notice how we break out our commissionable programs between the ones with the instant online quote pay print versus the ones with the 24 to 48 hour turnaround time. Let's take a quick tour of one of our most popular programs, which is Teams and Leagues. Notice here how we have the pre-published rates per participant for both the general liability and the medical expense, and that's just another word for accident insurance. It's so easy for you just to do a few computations to give somebody a quick quote. Also, scroll down and notice we have our rate published for the D&O, which is a $300 flat charge per board. The crime policy, flat charge of $200 for $25,000 limit, and the equipment is $2 per $100 of insured replacement cost value. Also, if you want to give someone a written proposal, or if you want to actually bind coverage, you just click on this link here, and you fill out a few forms, and before you know it, you have a formal printable proposal, and you can take that further to conclusion for binding payment and printing off the proof of coverage documents. And also, we have a link to our risk management section, which has best in industry content here on all kinds of topics, and it's made to be volunteer friendly, and you can pretty much just turn your client over to this page and provide assistance as needed. Thanks for listening to our presentation, and feel free to contact our office by phone or email if you have any questions, and be sure to let us know that you're an ISU agency. We appreciate your consideration, and we really do want to make sports insurance easy and profitable for you.